The CONSPIT 300GT is by far the best value steering wheel the sim racing market have ever seen, but let's see if we will all agree in that bold statement. Before we unpack what we get for €377 or $399 before VAT and local taxes, the necessary disclaimer first. CONSPIT team sent that kit for test and review without any conditions, and as always my personal goal is to remain as objective as possible in that video. That being said, let's start with the build quality. The CNC aluminum body with real carbon molded in 3D shape front plate make this build incredibly rigid with zero flex under any real use conditions and keep the weight down to 1 kilo and 150 grams. That makes it one of the lightest on the market right now. The usual TPU grips we see in the other more expensive models, which are on the hard side but still comfortable with gloves and without. Aluminum knobs for the 4th thumb, entry middle encoders, aluminum knobs on the 7-way switches, same material for the shifters and clutches, 2-inch display with great brightness, rev indicator and 44 individual controlled LEDs behind the buttons and the middle encoders compatible with SimHub. Just based on that info till now, this looks like very high-end steering wheel, and for that quality or even worse, we used to pay around 1K. Of course, keep in mind that the end price after taxes will probably hit the €500 tag, which still keeps it as the best value I have personally seen on the market right now based on materials used and features. It will be around 20 to 30% more expensive than the SimMagic Neo, Mosaic S GT and VRS, which are top value choices, but this is completely different class trying to compete with 1K wheels for half the price. Again, it is very polished and high-end looking piece of gear. So, moving to the features, things are going out of control. It has over 100 mappable inputs, 4 thumb rotaries on top and 3 in the middle, 8 buttons front, 2 more on the back, and then we have 12 position mode, which give us 4 inputs per position of the 2 thumb rotaries on the side. They advertise this as keyboard replacement, which I guess won't be the case for most of us, but the possibilities are insane. Here is one example how it works. Go to controls and click on the middle encoder, then choose encoder remap and activate the 12 positions mode. The right side just write each function for each thumb encoder and that will be briefly displayed on the screen. Then just join your favorite sim and choose the input to control whatever you wish. For example, in position 1 I have the control of the car dashes, then sitting position, FOV, force feedback, engine map, you get the idea. Also, knowing in which mode I'm currently in from the display is brilliant idea as I don't have to remember anything at all. How cool this feature really is. Those rotaries also have encoder mode and rotary switch for games which support position mapping like ACC. I prefer to use them in switch mode and hit directly the number I want on the ABS and in the traction control. The light control is also very cool as there are 2 modes in which the first one of the lights point the position of the knob in different color, choice up to us, and in mode 2 just fills all the position we already passed, which is my favorite as I can easily see how far my input really is. And again, choice of colors is up to us. Then are the warning effects, those can be set to each button individually as on the encoder's backlights. Basic options here, but as I said, this is SimHub compatible and the freedom there is insane. The screen has 5 different dashes, which by default are set to the left thumb encoder, but we can change that control on the software, and honestly none of those dashes are very useful to me in that size. You know, trying to fit so much information in that limited space is not a good idea, and with my eye conditions it's almost impossible to read, particularly while driving. Unfortunately, the display is not SIM hub compatible, and for now I don't have any control of those dashes. I personally believe one great use for that size display will be the Race Logic-like dash. It will fit perfectly and will actually be useful in driving. Race Logic is something I heavily rely on and highly suggest to CONSPIT team to develop one ASAP. That will definitely increase the value of that size display, and for now to me it's just useful mostly for the encoder mapping and maybe showing the current gear. So trust me on that, CONSPIT Race Logic like dash with all the pages will be loved from the community and will bring the experience to different level. Right now in those sizes I can see just the current gear and the rest is just blurry mess to my weak eyes. Next advice from me will be a bit stronger thumb encoders, as sometimes in extreme driving I move input which is not ideal. Other than those two suggestions, this wheel has enormous value for the asking price. So many features packed in such a good quality build from aluminum and carbon for that price is unbeatable right now on the market. Great shifters and clutches, snappy buttons, tons of encoders with aluminum knobs, backlight, rev light, SIM hub compatible, unfortunately not for the display, but still, and also over 100 inputs is absolutely insane value, that's for sure. The comfort in action is also top, as I drive for hours and hours daily preparing for the Nürburgring 24 hours race without any complaints. This is the third time CONSPIT offer crazy value steering wheel for specific class, and the €800 Max 01 has packaged in some cases more features than most of the 1.5K wheels on the market, and now the 300GT is about to put in danger those 1K models. I have to admit that from my personal experience with steering wheels, if 400 to 500 euro is your budget for a wheel, this looks to me like the best value you can get right now. Just my subjective advice to CONSPIT team is to use a bit more stronger thumb encoders for more stable experience and more reasonable dashes for that size display. As I've said, something like Race Logic dashes will make way more sense and be actually useful. Other than that, this company is pushing the market in the right directions, giving top value with each next product, and I can't wait to see what is coming next from those passionate guys. Top work indeed. Now, as you can see, that's the USB version to which I have attached Energy Cell quick release, and we'll use it with the VNM, as I'm sure not many of you have the CONSPIT direct drive base. And let's check this cutie in action.